A lot of you have been asking, why are you using a Valve Index? So today I'll be chatting about the 5 reasons why I stopped using my Valve Index and why I've been using the Quest 3 instead. And of course, in classic YouTuber style, the biggest #1 reason will be at the end. So let's dive in. Number 5. Resolution. Back in 2019 when the Valve Index was released, the resolution was the bee's knees. It was like the best headset that you could buy. The resolution was 1440 by 1600 pixels per eye. And to be able to play Half-Life Alyx with that resolution was a big deal. But it's 2024 now, and there's a lot of headsets that have way better resolution than the Valve Index. The Quest 2, for example, has a resolution of 1832 by 1920 per eye. And while I still prefer the Valve Index over the Quest 2, is still a better resolution. And then last year the Quest 3 came out, which has a resolution of 2064 by 2208 pixels per eye, which is a greatly increased resolution over the Valve Index. And then you have things like the big screen beyond, and this thing has a resolution of 2560 by 2560 pixels per eye. And I absolutely love this headset, but I'll talk about why it's not my current main headset at the end of this video. And by the way, if you want an updated review on this headset, let me know in the comments. So when it comes to the Valve Index resolution, it just doesn't hold up anymore. And when you're playing games with state-of-the-art graphics, you want to get the most out of every pixel. Reason number 4. Cables. Everyone knows cables suck. And to be honest, I used to be such an advocate for cables. Like, I had no problems with my cables, but it's one of those things, once you try wireless, it's really hard to go back. My Valve Index cable was always getting knotted and kinking and just always in the way, especially when you're trying to film mixed reality videos. It was always like in the shot of my videos. And of course you can attach to the ceiling, but I'd always have to like move it around for different stuff. And then I started doing VR treadmill content, and for that you have to move around in a 360-degree circle, and the cable was just a complete nightmare. And because of all the issues I've had with it like knotting and kinking, the actual cable itself started to cause issues with it like disconnecting randomly. I started to get audio issues as well, so that was something that was super frustrating. And I was really excited when Nofio announced their Valve Index wireless adapter. I teamed up with them at the beginning of this, and I tried it out at the office, and I had a really good experience with it. It ran really well, but unfortunately that was quite a while ago, and I think I'm due to get one soon, and I'd really like to do a review on it, but I think it's just been too long, and it would have been really great to have this device a year ago. But in 2024, I've moved on, and it's a real shame because it is a cool product, but yeah. But the big thing for me around using the Quest wirelessly, I always had troubles. I could never ever get it to run well, and when you're doing like mixed reality and like streaming, it's something you definitely want to be reliable. And so that's why I never really jumped over to wireless Quest, because I could just never get it working until I finally upgraded to a Wi-Fi 6E router. And let me tell you, this thing is game changing. My wireless setup now runs so smoothly. It doesn't have any issues. It connects perfectly every time. Investing in a really good router for the Quest really changed my Quest experience, and being able to connect to my PC wirelessly from my Quest now is a big game changer for me, and a big reason why I started using it more. And reason number 3 is I can't buy another one. The Valve Index never launched in Australia. I actually bought my Valve Index like secondhand. I had some friends help me get one from Sydney that someone bought in America and was just reselling it online. It cost me about, I think, 2,000 Australian dollars, and it never had any warranty or anything because it was imported. So that's how I was able to get one myself. No, actually they did launch the Valve Index for a little while through a gaming retailer called EB Games, which is kind of like GameStop, but they've stopped selling them. So in 2024, you can't buy another Valve Index. And my poor Valve Index, it's very well loved. I was using it pretty much every day for years, and it's been dropped. It's been bashed. I even sun damaged it. If you see my sun damage video, I accidentally left it on my windowsill and sun damaged it one day. So that wasn't good. It's at the end of its life, and there's no warranty to get it fixed, and I can't buy new ones. So my options were use a different VR headset or import one from America. And for my other reasons that I've mentioned, I just don't see it as a good investment. Which leads me to reason number 2, and that is you guys. Obviously, I make a lot of content around VR, and I make like guides and tutorials, especially around Beat Saber. Majority of you guys use the Quest. It's the most popular headset these days. And for me to be a good educator educator around VR stuff, it's important to me to be very familiar with the products that I'm using, and I need to make sure that I'm well versed on the products that you guys are using, if that makes sense. And the other part of it is people always see what headset I'm using and ask, what headset is that? I want to buy it. And it's kind of that weird thing when it's like, oh, I'm using the Valve Index, but I don't recommend it. I usually recommend people buy the Quest. It's like the cheapest headset, it's most accessible, has the best games library, you can play it with your PC. I'll talk a little bit more about other reasons later in the video, but now it's time for the number one reason why I stopped using my Valve Index, and that is the controllers. The controllers are damn heavy. And I kind of always knew they were heavy, but when I did one of my recent videos where I tried playing Beat Saber on every VR headset and compared my score, I started to really realize how heavy the Valve Index controllers were. And also in that video, if you haven't seen it, I was able to get way better scores using my Quest 3 than I was using like my big screen with the Valve Index controllers. And I was like absolutely shocked because I'm like, no, that can't be right. When you use a Valve Index, you have Lighthouse base stations, which track the controllers. And I've always thought, I guess been told, that the external Lighthouse tracking is always gonna get you better tracking. But after making that video, I'm like, maybe that's not the case. But also the fact that these controllers are just so much heavier than the Quest 3 controllers is a pretty big deal. Since using the Quest 3 controllers instead, I've been getting way less wrist strain, way less arm strain. I always suffer from really bad like shoulder pain from a lot of Beat Saber. And since using a lighter controller, I've experienced way less strain and pain, which is a really big deal. And also because it is lighter, I feel like I can play a lot better. Like before, I was like, there's no way I'll ever be Ghost, I'll never be Final Boss Chan, but since I've been using Quest 3 now full time, I'm like, I feel like I can beat these songs now. So I feel like I'm getting close. Ghost is getting closer. I'm gonna beat it soon, I swear. Keep an eye out for a video. It's happening. But anyway, when you compare these controllers, the Valve Index controller is 193 grams. The Quest Pro controller, which you may have seen me using a lot, is 164 grams. And the Quest 2 controller is 126 grams, and the Quest 3 is 104 grams. So the Quest 3 controller is definitely quite a lot lighter. I was using the Quest Pro controller a fair bit because, again, it has different tracking. It has cameras built into the controllers, which can supposedly give you better tracking. But I was having constant issues with it just losing haptics or it not connecting. And I just got frustrated with it. And I was like, no, screw this. I'm going back to the Quest 3 controllers. And I didn't notice any negative like effects of tracking or anything. I have found the tracking to be really good. In case you haven't seen it, I've been streaming on YouTube like 2 to 3 times a week. So make sure to turn on notifications if you want to catch one of my Beat Saber streams. Or if you head to the live tab, you can see the next scheduled stream there. Or if you join my Discord, you can see when I'm going live next. But I've been really enjoying using the Quest 3 and I feel like it's greatly improved my Beat Saber gameplay. And it's made me a lot more excited about Beat Saber again. Like before, I kind of felt like I'd peaked a little bit. Not that I was trying that hard, but I felt like I peaked and yeah, just wasn't ever gonna be Final Boss Chan or Ghost. But yeah, using these controllers now, like, I feel like it's in my reach. I feel really motivated to try and get better at Beat Saber now. So that's where I'm at. I'm really enjoying the Quest 3 controllers for Beat Saber. They're just so much lighter and it's been a real game changer for me. But while I am really enjoying the Quest 3 for Beat Saber, there are some aspects I do really miss about the Valve Index. And one of them is just plug and play. Like, I miss the days when I used to just be able to chuck on my headset, open Beat Saber, and I can play and stream the game right away. But these days, if I'm gonna do like a Beat Saber stream with my Quest 3, I gotta like make sure it's charged, make sure the external battery is charged, gotta open virtual desktop on my PC, open virtual desktop on my Quest. Gotta make sure everything's calibrated because it loses calibration all the time. And if I use the headset outside the boundary, then I lose calibration. If I let it go to sleep, I lose calibration. And there's just a whole lot more troubleshooting and things that can go wrong when you're using the Quest 3 in a wireless setup. So that gets really frustrating. Also, there's no headphones, no decent microphone, so we gotta use an external microphone, whereas the Valve Index just had all that stuff built in. The microphone was great, the earphones were great, great. I didn't have to think about it. So when it comes to setup and also not having to worry about battery life, that is something I definitely miss about the Valve Index, which is not a big problem for a lot of people. But when you're doing for content, it's a few extra swear words when you have to deal with all the troubleshooting kinks that pop up with this stuff. And because of a lot of those reasons, that's why I haven't been using my big screen either. I do really love this headset though. If I was to play like a really in-depth, graphically impressive VR game, I would definitely want to use this with my Valve Index controllers, because that's where you get that really nice immersive experience. This thing is so comfortable and there's no light leakage and the resolution's so nice, and the contrast. And anyway, I might do a separate review about this one again. But the big thing for me is these Valve Index controllers. It's just too heavy and my weak spaghetti arms can't handle it anymore. So we're all about the Quest 3 life now. If you've been on the fence about what headset to buy, I'm all hyped on the Quest 3. I think it's a great headset. I've even done the maths to compare all the headsets to see how I feel about them. But yeah, hopefully that answers some of your questions around why I've stopped using my Valve Index and why I've been using my Quest 3 more. That's all I have to say. So as per usual, if you watch this video all the way through, make sure to write banana in the comments, and I'll see you next time.